Two facts about me are crucial to this story. I was raised by an alcoholic, and I don't drink alcohol myself. Last week, my boss asked me to pick up drinks for a department party. I hesitated, telling her I might not be the best choice since I don't drink, and have no idea what people like or how much to get. She waved me off saying, "Just get whatever, it'll be fine," and handed me the corporate credit card. I tried to recall my childhood. Since I don't drink, I never spent time in bars during college. The only measure I had for how much people drink was based on my dad. I remembered that by beer number 6, he turned into a pretty cheerful guy. My brother and I even called it the 6-beer smile. Of course, Dad didn't always stop at 6. He sometimes drank 10 or more a day. So I thought, well, if Dad drank a lot, then 5 beers per person should be fine since that's just one shy of a smile. I called my older brother to double-check, and he agreed, yeah, that sounds about right. With about 40 people in the department, I ended up buying around 34 six-packs. I got a variety because, why not? Sure, it cost a lot, but this company wastes money on plenty of other things, so I figured this was just part of the cost of a party with alcohol. After loading my car, a task that took forever, I drove to work and carried everything to the large conference room reserved for the party. The party was yesterday evening. I only stuck around for a little while, making appearances to wave at the higher-ups so they knew I was there, then ducked out and went home early. The next morning, I woke up to a flurry of texts from my boss. They mostly read, "How much did you buy?" "The party is drowning." And finally, "There's more in the cabinets?" Yeah, when I dropped everything off, I ran out of counter space and put the rest in the cabinets. I asked a few friends why my boss was freaking out. They started laughing and reminded me of my dad's drinking habits. Apparently, I should have only gotten about 2 drinks per person, which is way more normal for a work party. So, to sum it up, I bought 5 beers per person for a work party. I can only imagine what the result was. Even though I messed up, let's be real, my boss messed up more by asking the non-drinker to handle the alcohol. Update 2/24/2025. Thanks, everyone, for your comments. I really appreciate those who reassured me that it wasn't that bad, and those who gave me advice for the future. I got a bit overwhelmed by the number of responses, so I'm sorry if I didn't reply to your comment, but I appreciate all of them. A few clarifications. I live in the U.S., and my area is a bit conservative and religious. People drink here, obviously, but getting drunk around coworkers is frowned upon. I've learned that drinking culture varies widely depending on where you live. The definition of an alcoholic also differs from person to person. My father was, and is, a sad, angry man, and in my experience, alcohol was a very unstable way for him to cope with his anger and grief. For those worried about my co-workers drinking warm counter beer, someone put the drinks in a cooler between when I dropped them off and when the party started. I usually try to leave work parties as soon as I can. I prefer hanging out with friends or my brother in my free time. It turns out party was a misnomer from my boss. As someone suggested in the comments, it was more of an after-work, social gathering where people could drop in and out or stay for a while. Anyway, I was the first one in the office. My boss, let's call her Kathy, came in a little fired up. Thanks to those who gave me good responses to her. First, Kathy asked why I didn't respond to her texts. I told her I don't check work texts on the weekend. Then she asked what I was thinking, getting so much expensive alcohol. I replied, as many suggested, I told you I don't drink and didn't know how much to get, so I wanted to make sure there was enough and a good variety. I held out the corporate card for her to take back, and she did, retreating to her office and shutting the door. A few folks stopped by my cubicle to say the party was fun, and that I should have stuck around. Word clearly spread that this was my doing because one guy told me I should always be the one to bring the drinks. Meanwhile, cafe's door stayed shut all morning. I started feeling anxious because, cost aside, it sounded like everyone had a good time. So I figured forget it and went to my boss's boss, let's call him Brian, to see if everything was okay. According to Brian, everyone thought the random assortment of beer was pretty great. After I left the party, that's when they discovered the variety in the cooler. One person started digging until they found something they liked, which encouraged others to do the same. Brian said it was hilarious when someone opened the cabinets and yelled, "There's more," which I admit is kind of funny. I told Brian McAfee seemed really upset about the whole thing. He confirmed that she was pretty upset on Friday, apologizing for how much I overspent. I told him I didn't even know there was a budget, and he laughed at that. I found out the budget was around $100 and for drinks, while I spent about $440 and I gave Brian the same short explanation I gave Kathy. I don't drink and wasn't sure what or how much to get. I asked if he wanted me to return any unopened six-packs, but he told me not to worry about it and said he'd talk to Kathy. On a related note, some of you found my brother's response hilarious, while others thought it was concerning. I honestly agreed with both perspectives. I called my brother when I got home from work, and we had a good talk. It turns out he didn't think my question was serious, and his answer was sarcastic. When I told him the whole story, he found the situation pretty amusing. We also discussed the impact of Dad's drinking on both of us. I won't go into detail, but he reassured me that nowadays he only drinks with friends and not very often. I made sure he knows that if he ever needs to talk, I'm here for him. Update TLDR, my co-workers had a good time. My boss panicked about going over budget, but her boss thought the excess was funny and told me not to worry about it. Most importantly, my brother is okay and not following in our father's footsteps.